This is the Gallagher Foundation Mentor Training. I want to thank each of you for taking the time to doing this training and for committing to this relationship. I understand you all have very busy lives, so please know how much we appreciate this. 2015 was the first year of our mentorship program in Mexico. We continue to expand it and improve the program. We are looking for ways to better meet the needs of our scholars in the program, and what better way than to connect them with a Gallagher graduate. Your experience and understanding with what they are going through can be very influential on the scholar or mentee. You may or may not have been a part of a formal mentor program before. Even if you weren't, there were influential people in your life. If you look at your worksheets, look at the first two questions. When you have a big question or problem to work through in your life, who are you most likely to turn to for guidance and advice? For me, growing up, it was my parents, a few teachers, and a coach I had. Depending on the guidance I needed, influenced who I went to for the advice. Many times I got advice even when I wasn't looking for it. That was usually how my dad delivered his advice, when you least expected it. We know that leadership is a very broad term. For example, Adolf Hitler was a great leader, but he was a horrible person. We've spent some time bringing definition to the mission, vision, and core leadership traits that we want Gallagher scholars to possess. The goal of our program is to educate the future leaders of your country. During this year, we hope you will be able to help build the scholars' leadership traits and assist them in developing their vision and mission. The mission of the Gallagher Foundation is that young, educated leaders will bring peace and prosperity to the world. The Gallagher Foundation supports the visions of young leaders to positively impact their developing countries through college scholarships and membership with a community of scholars and alumni who share the same commitments. We've identified 5 traits of distinguished leaders that we feel that all Gallagher Foundation scholars and graduates possess. They're visionary. They're leaders that are passionate, optimistic, and able to inspire others to effect positive change around a shared vision for the future. They're ethical. They're leaders that are honest, uncompromising in their values, and driven to do what is right. Tolerance. They're leaders that embrace the ideas and experiences of others and challenge themselves to grow through new perspectives. They're diligent. The leaders take responsibility for their conduct and persevere in the face of adversity. They're committed. Leaders that are dedicated to their communities, countries, and fellow Gallagher scholars and lifelong learning. A mentor is someone who spends time with another individual to help them grow, to be fulfilled and productive, and to make a positive contribution to the world. Mentoring can take place in a number of different settings, and it will look different for each of you. Some mentors live far away, so the meetings will be via Skype or phone calls. Others of you live in the same town as where your mentee is studying, and we hope that you'll be able to get together in person. Some of you will have known your mentee when you were a scholar if you're a recent graduate. Others, there will be a larger age gap, which will also affect the relationship. We tried to do our best matching up mentors and mentees based upon what the mentee hoped to get out of the relationship and your areas of expertise or experience. A mentee is the person who receives the support and advice from their mentor. Some of the relationships will be very personal, while others will be more professional. It all depends on your comfort level and your mentee's needs. A mentor is a trusted listener, ongoing resource for assistance, discreet colleague, and a source of thoughtful guidance. Your experience, either as a student or professional, is the most valuable traits that you bring to the relationship. A mentor is not a counselor, therapist, or solution to all their personal problems or academic problems. You are not there to solve their problems. In fact, it will be important during this relationship for you to set boundaries. Let the mentee know how and when they can contact you. Looking at your worksheets again, if you look under your experiences, if you could go back in time and give your 18-year-old self one piece of advice about how to be successful in your university experience, what would it be and why? I oftentimes wish I could sit down with my 18 or 20-year-old self. I would have many things to share and advice to give. These scholars are getting closer to graduation. Think about what you would have done differently or what you did that worked out well. Looking at your worksheet again, learning from your mistakes. It's important to note that mistakes help shape us. We all make mistakes, but it's the process of learning from them that is key. Your mentee can benefit from understanding that you're not perfect and you make mistakes too. Some mentees will be intimidated by you, and it will be good for them to hear about the mistakes that you've made and what you've learned from them. The mentor-mentee relationship typically goes through 3 stages. The first stage being developing rapport and trust. Building trust may take time for some scholars, and others it will be much more quick. On your worksheet, see Session Ideas section at the end of the packet. It provides open-ended questions to ask your mentee when getting to know them. For example, in Session 1, ask about them, ask about their family, their classes, what are their interests. Tell them about you, ask them how they like to communicate, and then what they want from you. Some ideas for Session 2 are if you're located in the same city, it might be nice to get together in person, do something fun together, or just get together for dinner or coffee. The next phase of the relationship typically is the setting of and reaching of the goals. Before this session, both you and your mentee will have had the opportunity to take the Gallup Strengths Finder, only if you've never taken it before. Then, before the goal setting phase, talk about your top 5 strengths and what that means. This might help shape the goals you help them set for themselves. Then, help your mentee identify the goals they want to accomplish. If you're familiar with SMART goals, which are outlined in the back of the packet, SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. If not, in the back of the packet, we've provided further in-depth explanation of the GROW and SMART models. In summary, break it down in small steps. Explore ways of reaching those goals. On your worksheet, in the goal setting section, we asked you to think back to when you were in your mentee's shoes. Did you already have an articulated goal in mind for yourself and your future? If yes, what steps did you take during your university years to achieve that goal? If no, when were you able to define a goal for yourself? Think about your life now. Do you have professional goals? Do you have personal goals? Ask yourself, how can this self-reflection of your goals help assist your mentee in their goal setting? The final phase in the relationship is bringing closure to the relationship. If you're able to develop a strong relationship with your mentee, closure should not be difficult. If your mentee is not receptive to the relationship and it's difficult to get a hold of them, still be sure to contact them at the end of the program to bring some sort of closure to the relationship. This slide shows the mentor-mentee timeline for the year, beginning with the training before the program begins, along with the first session. And one of the lead mentors will be contacting you within the first month to see how the relationship is going. And then we hope you have at least monthly sessions until the end of the school year. We will also be checking in with you mid-year to see how things are going. And if at any time you need any additional support or resources, please don't hesitate to ask. Next steps. Review the timeline, handbook, and suggested activities. Schedule the initial rapport building session with your mentee. Ensure that you are connected with the Mexican Mentor WhatsApp group for support. This year, we're going to give you the opportunity for both you and your mentee to take the Gallup Strength Finder if you've never taken it before. And begin to think about the goal setting process. What we've learned about the mentorship program is that this relationship will only work if both the mentee and the mentor are committed to it. We ask that you as a mentor initiate the first meeting. And after that, it's up to both of you to initiate the meetings and keep the relationship going. The biggest challenge most mentors and mentees found was committing to that time each month to get together. When you find a time that works for both of you, try to stick to it. Many mentors say that once you start rescheduling a lot, it gets more and more difficult to find a time to be committed to. The mentors who have had the most success often give their mentee a challenge for them to do before the next meeting based on their conversation. If your mentee is shy and feels awkward speaking in front of the group, maybe challenge them to speak in public before your next meeting. Use the Gallup Strength Finder to help identify their strengths, but also look at the areas they can improve given their strengths. Please don't hesitate to ask for help. And thank you again for committing to this relationship this year. We really appreciate it.